sweet. And my lovely assistant.
Intensely for John Wick and all those roles, and I applaud him greatly for doing so. He sells the action better than so many different action heroes.
Like Jackie Chan does all of his stunts too, I think.
Yes, trained in the Beijing Opera. I only wish I could have had that kind of growth and upbringing. Presentational, and they were actually grooming him to be another Bruce Lee, but he wanted the fun of it. He wanted the fun storytelling element, and that's the Jackie trademark.
Yeah, yeah. Now, what's new on your acting horizon? Anything coming up?
Well, I just recently worked on a 80s action kind of mashup. Basically, it was a throwback homage to those kinds of films where the villain was always this stereotypical, over-the-top. I play a character named Clawtooth who has a grill right up front here, and he uses clawtooth hammers as his go-to weapon, and he runs the gangs in L.A. And my twin sister, but not sisters, named Butterfly, and her minions are the her little pupas. There you go. But we are all the antagonists to Dawn Damage and his journey through the different action realms and different action flicks. And it's this weird, crazy 30 to 40 minute short film romp that I can't wait to see. But I keep getting hedged in as this villain, this anti-hero, and I am happy to be so. I love telling the other side of the coin stories. Joker, Clawtooth, whichever. What's coming up next is we are doing a live-action recreation of the Tarna versus the Barbarian fight scene in Heavy Metal, the 1970s animation movie. It's a very built-up scene that ends pretty quickly in that he takes her sword away, he pulls out a buzzsaw, he swings it at her, she dodges, she uses it against him. Well, we're going to upscale that choreography, we're upscaling the costumes, we're kind of taking it all up to the next level in an homage to the release of the new Tarna comics, and just something that we've always wanted to see. So we're going to play that up next. And then the next biggest thing that I'm working on is something of my own creation, and that's codename Brink right now. I don't want to say the title because it's so informative. But basically, it's a post-apocalyptic samurai western. Think Into the Badlands meets John Wick on the action. Basically, it is fantastic, but it is dirty. It is grotesque, and it is fun. And so we're shooting a 5-minute proof of concept for that later in the year. I've already got it mapped out, just bringing the team together right now.
Wow, very, very cool. Now, are you also the producer, editor as well, or do you like to be in front of the camera, or both, directing, producing, and acting?
I am always been the in front of the camera, the storyteller, the person out there living it, breathing it, and doing it. But the more that I have struggled here in LA, I've had to become the creator. I've had to become the behind the scenes as well as on the front end. And then there's some stories that I want to tell that I know that I'm not right for. So I'm getting more and more into writing and producing and creating and sending things out there, because if someone can take what I've done and make that come to fruition, and if I can be a part of that, I'm all happy to see it become something. I've got ideas that need to become animation mocap sensations. I've got ideas that need to become video games, and it's just take one little nibble at a time and keep progressing.
Just keep building up a legacy, right?
That's right. That's right.
Are you also a screenwriter?
As we speak, I'm working and working. Starting with more series pilots right now, just because I feel that that's more accessible as far as budget and what I can pitch to, because of all the new networks with Netflix and everything taking more chances on series, because it's easy to commit to a pilot as far as funding as well, and then ship that out and see how that lands. But especially with the advent of motion capture work that I've started doing the past year, the Chimerical Era is a short film animation that was done entirely in-house and or mocap in-house at Fonco Studios, and then the post work has been shipped around to a tons of former students and independent creators, all making this wonderful virtual world that's being premiered at VRLA this weekend, May 4th and 5th. So we're looking forward to seeing that little short become something bigger.
Very cool. Sounds cool. Now, when I saw you at Flicks for Change, as we know, Flicks for Change is like I guess it's a nonprofit that makes movies that, make some sort of dent into problems and, makes people more aware of, I guess it makes a statement.
Trying to speak out to some cultural issue, yes.
Yeah. Were you the actual producer of that flick that you did?
I came in on the heels of El Sonnet and Gloria Downey. They both have daughters, and because of the whole hashtag relationship goals, they saw how young girls were speaking to those to that relationship of Joker and Harley as something to be aspired to, as something to be looked up to. And it's like, being in love is great, but a crazy love, hurtful love, that abusive relationship is not that thing. And to try and lop those two together was something that they specifically wanted to reach out and say something against. So I was more than happy to jump on board. And while it was nasty to take in that part of Joker, to look at it from a completely different way of not being a malevolent, insane Joker or a deeply twisted Joker, but simply a Joker who wanted to affect and control a vulnerable woman. And leaning into just that part of it, felt more real than any time I'd ever played Joker before, and more true in essence, that we got a real life version of that monster.
Cool. Now, have you ever thought about doing any type of love stories, or are you more into the dark characters, or are you someone that is one day going to do something like, like a love story like Ali McGraw, O'Neill type stuff, or is it more action paced that?
Well, I love all styles. I haven't gotten as much chance to do comedy. There was a few summers ago we shot The Big Day, a comedy feature film that involved me being the lead hero, where basically one of my groomsmen slept with the stripper from the night before and didn't pay her, so the stripper's pimp came and took my bride-to-be and kidnapped her, and then sent his luxury lovers out to attack me, basically, and took over my wedding. So I served as the lead actor on that and the fight choreographer, because the director came to me and he goes, "Hey, I need to make a sex toy melee for my next film. Does that interest you?" And I said, "You're damn right it interests me. What can I use? What can we do?"
Right.
That film, we're trying to get basically more love and development and get it out there. We haven't gotten it produced or developed yet or distributed yet, but that's one of the hopes for the future. But that is a fun, crazy romp where I got to show a little of my silly self. That is something I'm looking forward to have a chance to. But villainy and creeperness and all the nasty parts of what people just lean into silly and over the top, I love to find the heart of, and because in everyone is their own hero, and so finding that for each villain, finding that for each unsavory character is one of my most favorite journeys.
Yeah, for some reason it seems like there's like a psychology or a psychiatrist within you. Is there something, or have you ever done any training, like say back in school in psychology or that type of thing that makes you want to get under the skin of and find out what's really happening under the water, so to speak?
I always just saw, I never rage was something that was far from me personally. I saw it in my life sometimes and didn't understand it. So hostilities and negative tensions, I tried to remove all throughout my formative years. So when it came to finding that in my own characters now and later in life, it was my own kind of therapy, my own kind of catharsis. And I've always been a people watcher and I'm much more of a thinker. I talk my way through all arguments, fights, problems, etc. I can examine others, and I feel pretty good about examining myself. I know when I'm not fit to have a conversation, and I will excuse myself. And I know when I won't stop having a conversation just to get to the bottom of something. But that introspective and investigative element is something that's just always been a part of my nature. Mostly my fancies as far as education have always lied in the histories and the possibilities.
So what type of family do you come from? Is everyone in your family creative, artistic, that type of thing?
Everyone's very creative, but none of them are artists in a professional element. My sister was a massage therapist, is now into financial bookkeeping and whatnot, but she's a dancer and a festival goer and a lovely soul, and will always be that lovely fairy in the wilderness. My dad was a saxophone player, was first chair in junior year of high school, and was second chair in college, and second chair in senior year. Went to college and was like, I just really can't do this every day. So he became an optometrist and opened his own business for 35, 40 years.
Wow.
And it's like, they have these wonderful creative hearts that then they set into different paths that just never led them that way. So whenever they see me pursuing what I'm going for, they have just more power to me.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So now, did you get most of your training out there, or when you came here to LA, was there like a burning desire just to get straight into stunts, straight into acting, straight into commercials, or did you actually come out here for something else and just morphed over into?
I knew that acting first and foremost was the reason I needed to be here. I wanted to work in video games eventually at some point with motion capture, and I'm so glad that now I'm starting to break into that. But acting for film and television was something that grew at the heart of my heart as a chance to be the storyteller for the next generation. Something that raised me was television, inspired and guided and influenced by my parents and my family and my upbringing. But the stories and the heroes and the archetypes of what affected me, like The Princess Bride and Conan the Barbarian, these classics where you're like, you know what you're getting. You're getting some fun action and not necessarily the acting, but I always wanted to bring the more true acting to action, because such great heroes have to be worthy of such great moments and scenes as any drama. We can bring that. We just have to believe that it's possible in our heroes.
Now, what type of style do you use? Like, some people use, I guess, association of memory to get into their character, to get their emotions. What would you say is your technique?
Well, when I got out here, even after doing the BA at UT, Theater and Dance, I went into the Baron Brown Meisner Training School at Santa Monica, and the emotional preparation there and the system of codification of getting the first year bridge of what are they doing and how do I feel about it, and understanding your own perception of emotions, your own perception of what someone's doing. I had so much years of like bullying and problems and whatnot, where it's like, they go, I don't like what you're wearing, and I'd be like, you don't like what I'm wearing, and I'd do the repetition. They go, she just insulted you, and I'd go, yeah, but I didn't really care, and she's like, you have to care. You have to want to believe that they mean something to you, and when they say something negative, it hurts, and you need to respond to that. So that whole like training of first year, like how do I feel about something, and getting where I can understand it and call it out was everything. And then adding on just the character work on top was everything that I already kind of understood, but then played into the actions and the relationship and how everything shifts based on who I'm talking to and who I need that thing from. What the most beautiful thing though was that in that training, in that Meisner School of Imagination and the safety of imagination, I took all of that to my fight choreography and my fight combatant stuff. And so I speak to my fighters like I speak to my actors, and I speak to my actors like I speak to my fighters. And they go, what's my move? And I go, well, who are you fighting? And I go, oh, the guy who killed my brother. Well, then you probably want to kill him. So you should probably aim for his head. It's like, or you want to embarrass him and make him limp for the rest of his life, in which case you're going to do everything you can to slice his Achilles tendon. That's your goal. So you're going to be feints and ruses. It's like, what do you want to do? Then go after it. And I love using that system for writing, for acting, for combat, for everything. It works so well.
Do you like theater more? Do you have a great theater background?
Theater was all I did until I got to, just before I got to LA. Stage acting taught me to be big and specific and here. And with film, I've had to compress and compress. And now with motion capture, I get to be between the two worlds. I haven't had as many chances to do theater in LA.
You miss it?
I do miss it. It is something about all of the energy of 1,000 eyes gazing at you and holding them in a moment and then moving on, or holding them in a moment and having someone sneeze and just and then oh shit. Having that reaction as Dracula back in San Diego was one of the best things. Saying something, having someone laugh, and just going,
just freezing
I
it.
will kill you. And then moving on, because in theater, they give you that freedom, that leeway, where one time I can step out and have a singular moment that's different than any other watching of the video will show. Yeah, you can check out the BTS and you'll get the silly laugh take, but this is a moment that only 300 people versus the 1,000 people that got to see it. They'll have that special experience, and that is irreplaceable.
Cool. Do you have a hard time disassociating yourself from your character? Like, let's say you had to become the Joker for like a whole month. Once you get home or whatever, is it still like that character's trying to take over you, or you know what I mean?
I was taught something, and I feel like it was by my teacher Elaine Williams, but I believe that she tells people that this is not what she gave me. And so whoever came up with this stairway, thank you. The stairwell is something that basically you set all of your daydreams. You do all of that nasty, deep digging work. You do all of that hard work that takes you to those bad places or good places if you have a problem or need to be especially happy. All throughout the show, all the time, every day. But basically, this stairwell locks in those daydreams and it categorizes it so that I start on an even keel, a white blank stage, let's say. And then for each step I go up, 10 steps, I'm getting either happier and higher and closer to that lovely, wonderful, gilded existence of the happy place, let's say, where unicorns and frozen yogurt are lovely, or I go down step by step by step by step into that darkness, into that worst place I could possibly be. And for me, it's all about creating the auditory, the texture, how the walls change and crack as I go down the stairwell, how the echoes of laughter and those haunting things that you take from all the horror movies, like children laughter running away and like bells tinkling, like all those horrible, horrible things are what form my Joker stairwell. And I get to the bottom and it's this crooked doorway. It says fun house and there's a big silly knob and it's here we go. And so as I walk down that each morning and I step up the stairwell back to the grass and the green and the happiness and the air at each evening, that pathway, that journey has helped me disconnect and reconnect with safety and no clinging on negativity.
Very cool. So you also do voiceovers, don't you?
Working on it. I'm actually working on it right now, but it is not something that I have locked in.
Okay. What about musicals?
I sing only to myself generally, but it is something I've always wanted to work on. The last chance I had was Little Shop of Horrors back in the day as the dentist, and I passed on that, and I will forever regret it. So something I want to pursue eventually.
Yeah. I mean, now these days there's people doing movies on phones and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I think any way we can empower storytelling is the best. I mean, there's always going to be people who are sticklers for production value, this, that, and the other, but I say as long as you make a solid attempt at making the editing be what it is and color correcting and taking the time to actually make it the best product you can. The only thing I hate about working on lesser budgeted films or whenever their aim is only this and not when it could be this. It's like I understand money and I understand time and understand effort, but go for the gold, shoot for the stars, and if you fall somewhere before that, great, but let's aim for the best that we can do, even if it's on iPhone 7 or whatever, iPhone X, because the more stories that are out there, it can only be better. It's just we need to have guidance and intention and heart in our storytelling, and if we're just doing it for the silly factor or just doing it for the wow factor, I care less. And I want to care more.
Right. That leads me to my next question. When you're done, well, as you pursue your, reaching your goal in acting, what is your final statement that you want your acting to leave? What do you want to impart upon the world? Because I got a feeling it's not just to make the money. You have passion passion about your craft?
As I said before about being the next generation of storytellers and instilling heroism and honor and humility into the children and people who are watching and forming what their world is today based upon the art that they're taking in. Art reflects life reflects art, yes, is a golden statute of mine. So let's show the best parts of who we are as a people and who we can be. How strength does not have to be separate from intelligence. How strength does not have to be separate from beauty. How equality and everything can be shown to that next bit and believed in it. And if we stand behind it strong enough, we will fake it till we make it as a society. And that's who we stand to be. So let's take that. Let's take the reins. Let's take the ownership of that and push forward. That's what I would want. I want to be part of that wave, that change.
Very cool. Who's the person that instilled all the acting drive in you? Was it an actor or was it a teacher? Or?
A combination. The first time I actually got to see what I considered acting beyond just playing, was a wonderful, wonderful friend of mine named Ozma Riley. She was on stage at the 6th grade orientation performing, and I was there to see what art was, to see what an art class was like, what a choir class was like, and then what acting class was like. And she had learned sign language so that she could play this deaf character who was breaking away from her boyfriend and having this entire fit. And she was committed. She signed the entire time. She made me believe. She took me to a place where I could never have imagined that I would go at 6th grade orientation.
Wow.
And for that, it set me on a path of, this is something you can do. You can change people, you can affect people, and you can tell stories that give such wonderful meanings and messages. You can entertain, sure, but you can leave a mark too. And then it was the director that gave her opportunities and gave me my first opportunities, Douglas Holcomb, who said, you want to play? Let's play. And Robin Williams was my idol. Jim Carrey was an idol. Silly and wild, yes. But those real people, for me, were the ones that said, go, do this.
So now I guess those were your favorites. I was going to say, who's your favorite actor? But who's your favorite stunt actor or, I guess, action actor?
Well, hold on. Let me throw in Gary Oldman and the favorite actors as well, real quick, because I can't pass him up. But as far as the stunt action actors, the ones that influenced me the most were it's always, I don't even know. I love everyone. I honor everyone because they brought their own sauce to it all. Jason Statham, Tony Jaa with the Onuong Bak series, Jet Li and his whole change, but Jackie was everything to me.
Jackie
Rumble
Chan?
in the Bronx, it was the understanding of how he built choreography off of the timing and the music, and how he really brought the whole Eastern culture fervently and dramatically into Western minds and on audiences and home screens. Jackie.
Yeah.
I give it to Jackie.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hate to drop this on you, but the popcorn is about pop now, and we're about to run out of time. But I just want to thank this fine actor for coming to us, a great human being. Oh, and just one more thing. How can people reach you? Because I'm sure when someone sees you, they're either going to hire you or want to be like you. So how can they find you?
Well, y'all can find me on www.thehuntercsmith, or that's The Hunter C on Instagram. There you go, The Hunter C, or www.huntercsmith.com. I'm also on Facebook, Hunter C. Smith, and IMDb. Don't forget that one, Hunter C. Smith. Please come find me. Tag me, like me, follow me, and come see what's up. We've got plenty more to store.
So we're winding it up. And what's your next movie, real quick?
Next project is coming out, The Dawn of Dawn Damage, and after that I can't tell you. It's all NDA.
There you go. Thank you so much, Hunter.
Thank you much, Maurice.
Take care. This has been Maurice Dwayne Smith with Hunter Smith, Nuclear Popcorn.
Nuclear popcorn.
Thank you.